Welcome back, everyone. Ready to go deeper? In episode 2 of our AI series, we're breaking down how neural networks actually work. In the last video, we discussed that neurons are feature detectors. They are, at their core, nothing but functions. Now consider this function, y equals x square. The graph of this function looks like this. Now let's consider y equals x minus 3 whole square. And the graph of this function looks like this. We also discussed that cost or loss can be created in different ways. As discussed in our last video, one of the most common ways is c equals y minus y hat whole square. We are going to spend the rest of this video on this particular loss function. And by the way, I'll be using the words cost and loss interchangeably. They mean the same thing. Now let's try to draw a parallel. Notice that c equals y minus y hat whole square looks very similar to y equals x minus 3 whole square. If we replace y hat with 3 and rename the variable to w, we get c equals w minus 3 whole square, whose graph looks like this. Now, if we differentiate c with respect to w, we get dc by dw equals 2 times w minus 3. Let's think about what this tells us. For all values of w greater than 3, dc by dw is positive. For all values of w less than 3, dc by dw is negative. Now our goal during training is to find the values of weights and biases that minimize our cost. We start with random weights and biases, and we want to move them step by step towards the values that give us the lowest possible cost. So how do we update our weights? Let's focus on this. Look at the graph of our loss function. It is shaped like a U. The minimum is at the bottom at the center. Our w should move towards that center. The update rule is w new equals w old minus dc by dw. Let's see why this works. For higher values of w, dc by dw is positive. So w new will be less than w old. We are subtracting a positive number. We are moving left towards the minimum. For lower values of w, dc by dw is negative. So w new will be greater than w old. We are subtracting a negative number, which means adding. We are moving right towards the minimum. Beautiful, right? In both cases, the formula naturally pushes us towards the lowest point of the curve. And this makes sense visually too. When w is high, cost is high, so we reduce w. When w is low, cost is high, so we increase w. So given our loss function, c equals y minus y hat whole square, and given that y is a function of w and b, specifically y equals wx plus b, this formula works perfectly to update our weights, and the same logic applies to biases. B new equals B old minus dc by db. This is called the optimization function. And dc by dw and dc by db are called the gradients, which means the difference. Quick note on terminology. Weight is associated with every connection between neurons. Bias is associated with every neuron itself. Keep that in mind. Now there is one more thing. If you look at the graph again, if w is very far from the minimum and we take a very large step, we might overshoot the minimum and end up with a higher cost than before. The same thing can happen on the other side. To control this, we introduce something called the learning rate. The updated formulas become w new equals w old minus learning rate times dc by dw. B new equals b old minus learning rate times dc by db. The learning rate controls the size of each step we take. Too large and we oscillate and overshoot. Too small and training takes forever. It's a balance. Alright, let's summarize what we've covered. In the last video, we talked about 3 main steps in solving a machine learning problem. 1. Define the neural network. 2. Train the neural network. 3. Test and deploy. We will cover the part of defining the network in a while. Now here is a summary of how we train it. Step 1. Initialize the weights of every connection and the biases of every neuron randomly. Step 2. Calculate y hat equals wx plus b. Using these random weights and biases, we calculate the predicted output y hat for each input x. Step 3. Calculate the loss using c equals y minus y hat whole square. Step 4. Update the weights and biases using w new equals w old minus learning rate times dc by dw. B new equals B old minus learning rate times dc by db. And then we repeat again and again across many iterations. Now you might ask, What about step 1? How do we define the architecture of the network in the first place? To define a neural network, we need to decide on a few things. The number of hidden layers, the number of neurons in each layer, which optimization function to use, which cost function to use, what initial values to give the weights and biases, what learning rate to use. Now these are not values we calculate. We try them, we experiment. These are called hyperparameters. Weights and biases, those are parameters. The network learns them during training. But hyperparameters, those are the design choices we as practitioners make before training even begins. And the right values come from experience, intuition, and a lot of trial and error. Now, in everything we discussed so far, I hat equals Wx plus b, there was only one weight and one bias. Let's scale this up. Imagine a network with one input layer, two hidden layers, and one output layer. Step 1. We start with random weights for every connection. We pass our input through all the layers and finally compute y hat, our predicted output. For example, predicted house prices based on input features like area, location, and number of rooms. This forward pass is called forward propagation. Step 2. We calculate the loss. C equals y minus y hat, whole square, where y is the actual house price. We will already have actual house prices in the training data y. Step 3. Based on the loss, we use our optimization function to update the weights. But here's the key part. We don't update all layers at once. We start from the last layer and move backwards. Last layer first, then second to last, and so on. This step is called backpropagation. And this 3-step cycle, forward pass, calculate loss, backpropagate, this repeats over many iterations until the network learns. Now here's something really important that we need to talk about. When there's only one weight and one bias, y equals Wx plus b. That's straightforward. But what happens when we stack neurons? With multiple neurons we have z1 equals w 1 times x plus b1. And then y equals w 2 times z1 plus b2. If we expand this, y equals w 2 times the quantity w 1 times x plus b1 plus b2, which simplifies to y equals w 2 times w 1 times x plus w 2 times b1 plus b2, which is again a linear function of x. So no matter how many neurons or layers you stack, if you don't do anything special, the output is always just a linear function. But most real-world patterns are not linear. Prices, images, language, none of these are linear. So how do we fix this? We introduce something called an activation function. We talked about the sigmoid function in a previous video. Sigmoid introduces non-linearity, and it's great for outputs like probabilities. But for hidden layers in deep learning, the most popular default choice today is something called ReLU, which stands for Rectified Linear Unit, and it's beautifully simple. ReLU of x equals the maximum of 0 and x. That means if x is positive, output x. If x is negative or 0, output 0. This tiny function applied at every neuron in every hidden layer, only to hidden layer neurons, not every neuron in the network, is what allows a deep network to learn complex non-linear patterns. Here's the intuition. The real world is non-linear, but we can approximate any non-linear curve by breaking it into many small linear pieces. That's exactly what a neural network does. Each neuron handles a small linear piece, and together they form the bigger non-linear picture. ReLU is what enables that. So to wrap up, let's quickly list the 3 types of functions we've discussed. 1. The loss function. C equals y minus y hat, whole square, measures how wrong our predictions are. 2. The optimization function. W new equals w, old minus learning rate times dc by dw, guides us towards the minimum loss. 3. The activation function. ReLU or sigmoid introduces non-linearity so the network can learn real-world patterns. That's it for today. See you in the next video. Until then, stay tuned, stay focused, keep learning.